Bonjour, everyone, and welcome to Bourbon Bites Whiskey Reviews with an 80s twist. I'm your host, Clifton, and welcome to another Thursday night live stream where we try a brand new whiskey to me. So, if you saw the thumbnail, you saw the title, we are trying French single malt whiskey. Did I know that France made whiskey? No. But I'm very curious to give it a try. If you saw last week, or if you didn't, I did a stream where I tried single malt whiskey from England, which was also a revelation to me. Ended up really enjoying a couple of those expressions. So this is my first time having it. I've not tried these bottles before this stream. So I wanted to give you guys an honest first reaction of what I think of French whiskey. Now, there's probably other distilleries, but today we are talking about Vilanova whiskey from Distillerie Castan. I'm probably mispronouncing things. As you can tell, I don't speak French. I just got back from Paris. We took a couple weeks over in Europe, like I talked about last week a little bit. But yeah, we spent about six nights in Paris. So got to explore quite a bit. Did a lot of museums and typical touristy things because it's been since high school since I'd been. So we of course climbed the Eiffel Tower. We did a really nice dinner cruise on the water. And of course I visited Le Maison du Whisky, which is, the world-renowned whiskey store. I visited one of their locations and I did get a pick from them. So if we finish up a little bit early tonight, I might try that pick on the stream. I don't know what I was saving it for. I figured since I'm talking about stuff I got in France, why not give that a try at the end? So we'll see. Stick around to the end. You may get a chance to hear my thoughts on that. But yeah, today we're trying Vilanova. So this is, they came in a gift set, basically. I'm going to put them in the order that they were in the set. Yeah, there we go. Now, this is an older bottling of them. And the only reason I know that, because I asked the guy, I bought this at Le Maison du Whisky. He said they've upped their ABV on their whiskeys from 43% to 46%. So these are technically the older bottles, but it's the same distillate, they literally still use the same labels and names and stuff. It's just this one was bottled a little bit lower ABV. But question for the chat. First of all, hello. Good to see so many folks in the chat. See, Donnie is here, Doug is here, Aaron's here, and Stacy's here. Cheers, y'all. Well, let me know, those of you in the chat, have you ever had French whiskey? Apparently, France drinks the most whiskey per capita in the world. Would have not known that. I mean, I assume with France, I think, wine or not whiskey, but apparently whiskey. So good to know. Interesting. Probably not their own stuff though. I assume it's probably like Scotch or even bourbon. I will say the bourbon selection at Les Maisons du Whisky was impressive. Not necessarily like they had rare stuff, but they just had a really good selection. And if I was in the market for it, I would find definitely something I would pick up. Unfortunately, it was our last stop on the trip, so I didn't have time to finish a whole bottle of anything. They did have a Blanton straight from the barrel that I was really tempted from. It wasn't a pick. It was just a regular shelf release of it. It was like 130 euros, so not too bad. Maybe it was 140. But I already have one on order locally, so I decided to give a pass on that. Thinking back, I probably should have grabbed it, but yeah, so I didn't get that. But I did get a pick from them, which was a lot of fun. Zebra's here as well. What's up, Alfonso? Good to see you. I've just had Brenne. I'm actually not familiar with that. Like I said, did not even know that France distilled. Speaking of which, Doug also has had that French malt called Brenne. Light, sweet, and fruity. Interesting. Did not know that was a thing. I'll have to look into that. But this one is actually a single malt whiskey, and I do have a little bit of info about the distillery itself. So, like I said, it's called Distillerie Castan, is how I'm pronouncing it. It actually started about 3 generations ago, back in 1941. They started distilling. It looks like it sounds like it was distilling fruit for private customers. But that practice that has kind of disappeared over the ages. The 3rd generation took on a reinvention of the brand, and then they focused on whiskey, which apparently is unheard of in their latitudes. Now, I'm just reading this from their website right now. But in 2007 is when they opened the most recent version of the distillery. It's Fruit and Whiskey Distillery. And they own the land around it. They grow the variety of grains around it, and it just made sense for them. So it's I don't know how you pronounce this. Occitanie. Occitanie. It's probably I don't know. But it's the first whiskey distillery in that region. So very, very cool. I'm excited to give it a try. They have like a time. Their website's really cool. It kind of tells you a little bit about like what they were making. Of course, they made fruit and grape distillate all the way through the 40s and 60s, and then reopened in 2007 to make whiskey. So it's really fun. So let's go ahead and get into these whiskeys, shall we? I do have a little bit of info about each of them here. We're going to start with this one that has the cutest name I've ever heard of a whiskey. Now, I'm probably mispronouncing. Like I said, I'm going to stop apologizing. I'm just going to pretend I know what I'm saying. Because this one is called Vilanova. Come on. Please focus. We had this problem last week because they're so little. Okay. Vilanova Berbie. Berbie. It's just such a cute name. Do I know what that means? Not necessarily. So here's the info I have. You guys may be more informative to me. I'm just going off of what they have in English on their website. It says this is the first single malt to be distilled by them and bottled cask by cask in 2013. So it's everyone's a single cask release. It has revolutionized Tarn whiskey and given it a new lease on life. Very accessible. It's perfect for a gentle introduction. So this one's 100% malted barley. And it does say that the grain was grown at the distillery. Let's go and try this one. The cask, I'm really having trouble finding info about the cask. I see it in French. Does anyone here speak French? I can share my screen if that's helpful. But it is non-chill filtered, and it is. It just says this is the classic one. Velicement in ex Fût de Vin Blanc white wine cask. I probably mispronounced all of that, but I want to. Oh wait, found it. French oak in white wine casks. There we go. I should have looked beside it and saw that it was listed in English. I was trying to act smart, but yes. So it is a French oak in white wine casks. Interesting. Yeah, let's go give it a try. It's a natural color, non-chill filter. Now, we don't know about age. They don't have that on their website. There's a link that says more information. I'm just curious. I know a lot of letters. I know. I didn't learn French growing up. I learned Spanish. So it's definitely, I did have some troubles with the language barrier, although not as bad as Amsterdam. Amsterdam, weirdly enough, the language barrier was way more difficult there. Wasn't expecting that. So, yeah, it doesn't tell you anything about age, but it is farm distilled. So let's go and give this a nose. Again, this is the Berbie, which I would have thought was the bourbon cask. I'm sorry. I see Berbie, and I think it's just a cute name for bourbon. But it's probably not pronounced Berbie. All right, let's give it a nose. Color-wise, it's actually pretty dark. So we don't know the age of it, but it is natural color and non-chill filtered, so that's a good sign. Again, this is the 43% ABV version. They also, the current releases of the distillery are 46%. Give it a nose. Ooh, okay, very sweet. I mean, that's like, I don't want to say grape because obviously white wine cask, but yeah, it has a bright, very, very juicy, sweet, fruity nose. Definitely not like a red fruit. It's not like, strawberries or cherries. It's very light, almost more, not citrus. I mean, I guess maybe like a pear. I'm getting kind of some pear notes on it. Maybe some apple, like some, not like maybe like a green apple, a little bit of tartness there. But really interesting because you can get that. I mean, it's definitely can tell that it's 100% malted barley. But it's got a nice, unique, light fruitiness to it, which I guess I assume comes from the white wine cask. Now, French oak casks are some of my favorites. I love the spice that it gives the whiskey. Hard to tell in the nose. I'm not picking up on that. It's so sweet that I feel like I'm not picking up on those French oak cask notes to start with. But it does smell very, very nice. What's up, Emily? I don't know if I said hello earlier, but good to see you in the chat. Berbie. I'm not going to pretend like I have like a Scottish accent, but okay. I'm going to keep an eye out for these pronunciations, and we're going to try to do them. But I'm going to call it Berbie because that's like Berbie fully loaded. Anyways, okay. Really like the nose on this. Really, it makes me want to drink it. Like, it kind of makes my mouth water a bit. It's that fruity and that sweet. Let's go for a taste. Cheers. Hmm. That's really unique. I mean, if you told me that was a brandy, I would believe you. That's why I was a little thrown off because it does say they do fruit distilled as well. That tastes very very much like a brandy. I guess it's because it's that influence of those white wine casks, but it's extremely fruity, very sweet, very honey. Um, very. I mean, like I wasn't expecting that. I'll be honest. I see why this might have been their first release. It's definitely unique. I've never had anything like it other than brandy. It does remind me of a apple brandy, but it is the grain is malted barley. So how interesting, man! I can't believe a white wine cask has had this much influence on a whiskey. I mean, it hits you up front with that fruit. It's not even like you get the whiskey grain first and then the sweetness like a finish typically does. This one punches you in the face with that sweetness. Let's give it another try. Mm. On second sip, now that I'm prepared for that flavor burst, it is very approachable. I would say approachable is a good way to put it. It's not the whiskey isn't what's shining. Is kind of the point I'm making. That finish or that cask that they aged it in is what's making this unique. Not to say that the base spirit's not good. We're gonna try other expressions where we get to maybe taste a little bit more of the spirit. But that is such a it's really light and sweet, and I like it a lot. I'm very curious. I'm trying to think of all other white wine cask whiskeys I've had. I've had some Chardonnay casks. Last week we had a rye whiskey finished in Chardonnay cask from London, but it didn't have this intense sweetness to it. Oh, that's really good. I'm curious. Again, I didn't look up any reviews of these beforehand. I'm just going off of the website information. It does say that some of the tasting notes are apricot, vanilla bourbon. I don't know these other words. I did say pear. So definitely apricots, pear, kind of in the same realm. They say like a bourbon sweetness. I mean, it's like vanilla, but like vanilla frosting, like very very sweet vanilla, not like a subtle vanilla like you would get on a bourbon. Yeah, that's so approachable. I could see a non-whiskey drinker enjoying this one because it doesn't hit you in the face with the whiskey flavor. It actually kind of drinks like a cocktail. I would be curious to try this chilled because I think when I think of like white wine, I think of having it chilled. So I wonder if this would be really good chilled. I may have to hold on to a little bit of this one to try that. Very very interested. What's up, Perry? Good to see you in the chat. Hope you're doing well. If y'all miss Perry's stream and watch it, watch the replay. I only caught part of it because I was rushing home from work, but definitely check it out. All right, well, now that I'm fully intrigued by French single malt whiskey, let's move on to the next one in the lineup. Now, this one, I'm going to pronounce it like my American self, and I'm going to say it's called Vilanova Gost. Gost. So I was probably pronounced something very different, but this is an unfiltered release, been aged in ex-bourbon casks, giving it a golden color and fruity, predominantly vanilla aromas. So this one is just ex-bourbon casks. This is going to be more in line with getting a taste of the actual spirit, the single malt whiskey. This one, as with the other one, it's also 100% malted barley. Yeah, I definitely I can understand Perry's comment more than yours. Yeah, that's what I get for taking Spanish and Italian. All right, so this one, like I said, same proof. 40. Oh, sorry, I read 46%, but remember these are 43%. They're the previous bottling. Now this one, interestingly enough, it does say American oak in white wine casks, but it's funny that it says it's been aged in ex-bourbon casks. Hmm, that makes me curious. I wonder if that's a mistake on the website. Because if you look at the label, it just says ex-bourbon cask. It doesn't say anything about white wine, where the first one did mention white wine. So I think that might just be a mistake on the website. I'm going to assume this is just American oak bourbon cask, but we'll see. We'll see how it is on the palate, or we'll see on the noses first. Let's smell it. Oh yeah, much more familiar of a nose. Immediately the grain is what you smell, that cereal grain note. It does have a. I mean, the color on this, it is quite a bit darker. I didn't pour too much in my glass, but it is a good bit darker. I'm assuming these are all probably around the same age. Funnily enough, okay, if you've been watching the channel for a while, you know that I don't typically like a bourbon cask aged, or I like my scotches aged in other casks than ex bourbon. I know the majority are aged in ex bourbon, but I love a sherry cask scotch. I love a wine cask scotch, or at least a secondary casking or bottling of it, barreling with that like sherry or port or whatever it is. I'm not that drawn to scotches aged in bourbon barrels, even though I love bourbon. Y'all know, obviously, the channel name, my sign up there. To me, it never really actually gives me the bourbon notes that I would like a whiskey that's been aged in bourbon barrels to give me. However, this one on the nose kind of smells like a bourbon. I said it was grain forward, but I mean, I don't think I had immediately detected it as a malted barley. It's definitely cereal, definitely a little barnyard, but there's like a really strong oak backbone there. I'd be really curious to know what barrels, like which distilleries barrels they're using, because it almost smells like a really good old Knob Creek, like some of those older Knob Creek picks, where the oak just smells. You can smell the saturation of that oak. I do get that a lot. So I'm curious to see how much those barrels impacted the flavor of this single malt. All right, let's give it a try. Cheers. Okay. Wow. That also is really good. I mean, I don't know the price of this. I mean, the set wasn't that much. It was like 20 euros. That is probably one of the best tasting single malts I've had. And I know, that's a big statement. Let me clarify. One of the best tasting non-peated single malts I have had. I do prefer the peat, but this one, the bourbon cask has really, really influenced this whiskey. Wow, I gotta go for another taste. It's sweet. It's vanilla. You get the oak. I mean, does it taste like a bourbon? Not really. It almost tastes like a. Ah, that's so unique. You could totally though use it as a replacement for bourbon. Let's say you make an old fashioned. You could totally make it that. It's got that rich of those vanillas, those caramels, those very very oaky notes that I love about a bourbon. That I mean that impressive. The first one was cool because it was like unique and really sweet and like made me excited to see the what was so unique about it. This one though doesn't necessarily taste like otherworldly. It tastes like a good single malt, better than, dare I say, okay. I want to preface this. This is better than any non-cast strength American single malt I've had. There we go. Let me put a few qualifiers there because I have tried a lot of single malts and I don't want to like discredit them, but from Scotland. But American single malt at cast strength, I have loved some of it, but all the ones that I've tried at not cast strength, I've not been a fan of. This one blows them away. Wow, France. I wonder if it has something to do with the climate. It's it's a little south from, I'm trying to think like location wise. England is pretty on par with like Washington State, so I'm wondering this a little bit more south. Maybe it's even in line with how Kentucky. I don't know what, like I said, on their latitude and longitude. I'd be curious to follow that line around and see where it ends up in the U.S. because I'd be very curious to see if it lines up with Kentucky because that's really good. That one's gonna be really hard to beat. And funnily enough, I looked this up. These are distributed to the U.S. So out here, Mission Wine and Spirits in Southern California, I saw it on their website. Let me check out the pricing there just to see. So it looks like they may just have the. I'm looking at the Roja, which is the one we're moving to next. They have that one. Okay, it is a little pricey. Okay, I can see that. A bottle is $95. So okay, this isn't just cheap. This isn't just cheap. There's obviously some. Yeah. Although it's interesting, the other one, the last one we're gonna try is only $50, which is the Terrocita. So I'm curious to see how different they are, because that's a big jump. That's like double the price. Well, we're moving to that one next, so I'm excited to see, but I don't know how much the Ghost one would go for. Let me see. Just out of curiosity, because that was really good. I would buy it. Not seeing it locally. Maybe, I mean, I guess I can check out other areas. Again, I don't know what's distributed elsewhere. I just know here, I don't see that one, but I do distribute the actual brand out here, so maybe I can just ask around. But that's delicious. Really, really good. Saw some folks come in. Tom Black is here. Cheers from the Bourbon Hall crew. Well, cheers to you. Thank you for stopping in. Brandon's here as well. What's up, Brandon? Brandon, I need to text you about a streaming. I still don't have an. Are you still available this weekend or next weekend? I need to talk to Justin, but either this weekend or next weekend, Brandon's going to join me. We are going to do an E.H. Taylor Buffalo Trace stream, so it should be a lot of fun. Keep an eye out. I don't know when we're doing it. I need to talk to Justin. But good to see you. Donner Pass Whiskey is here as well. Emily says, my fingers are off tonight, but cheers. No worries. Just enjoy the show. Sit back, relax, have a pour, and join us. Because I'm blowing my own. I'm blowing my own mind. Make sure I finish that sentence. I'll be real, I wasn't expecting much out of these. I'm like, French whiskey, how good can it be? But I mean, I left my title vague down there. So if you're watching this live, it says like, the French can make whiskey, but I left that open so that way I can put good, bad, great. It's leaning towards great. So I'm going to update that title when I'm done with this stream, hopefully. You're probably going to watch this like a year from now and it's still going to not be updated. Sorry. I say a lot of things on the stream and then I completely forget because we do our after party over on Discord, which I should plug right now. Why not? If you want to support the channel, you can go to bourbonbites.com. There's a link in the description below and join our Bite Club, which is our membership here. Also available on Patreon, but Bite Club through bourbonbites.com goes directly to me. It's more of the funds go to me, the creator. And I get to like run the site, which is really cool. I have a store there with a lot of merch. The same benefits you get on Patreon are on the Bite Club, including our monthly movie night, which we will be doing either this Friday or next Friday, where we watch retro 80s movies. That's at the $5 tier. Or at the $10 tier, you can access the after party hangouts after every Thursday night live stream. We go on Discord for everyone at that tier. That's the $10 level. And we hang out for quite a while. I'm usually dip after like an hour and a half or so, but some people stay on for a while. But you can also support the channel for as little as $2 a month there. So all the info you need is down in the description below, bourbonbites.com. And big shout out to my Bite Club members. Y'all know who you are. Thank y'all for helping me decide on movie night, which was a poll. Vote in the poll on Discord. That's all I gotta say. It's tied right now. Both weekends are open. Gotcha. Thanks for the heads up, Brandon. I will text you. I'll make a decision tonight. All right, let's move on. We got 2 more of these French whiskeys to do. And then again, if you missed the beginning, I'm going to be trying my Les Maison du Whiskey pick. I posted about it on Discord, but I don't want to spoil it for those of you that didn't see that. I saw Stacy's comment earlier. She was saying that she had a redbreast pick, I think I saw. There we go. Les Maison du Whiskey has probably the best redbreast single cask I've had. Oh, I bet. You know, I don't know if I saw. I did see they had quite a bit of redbreast there. They had some of the rarer releases, but they were pricey. I don't remember seeing a single cask, though. Because I asked them, I was like, what kind of single cask do you guys have? And they point out a few options, and I went with one that I recognize the brand. So that's interesting. I wonder if they still have it. I'll have to ask around. Hope Greg's Whiskey Guide watches this at some point, as he has done some work with French distilleries doing their bottlings. Well, feel free to send my channel along, or this video at least. I'm not familiar with the channel, but I am very curious. So yeah, send them this video. Tell them that Donner Pass Whiskey sent you. And also hit the thumbs up while you're here. I know some of you guys haven't done it. I can see you right there. You have not hit the thumbs up button, but you've been watching. So what are you doing? Do you like this? If not, turn it off. Just kidding. All right, moving on. Sorry. I'll stop hassling y'all to join my website, like my video, and also subscribe. But anyways, let's move on. Next whiskey. This is the Vilanova Roja. Now, if I had to guess, I would guess this is aged in red wine casks. But I don't know, because I don't know anything about this whiskey. So we're about to find out. Of course, same ABV as all of these. Let's see what they have here on the website. This one is an unchill filtered single malt. Agent X red wine cask. Yeah, I kind of figured with the name, but that's me. Like, I know French. I'm just kidding. It's also like red label, so I kind of figured it out. X red wine cask. This distinguished whiskey will appeal to apprentices and initiates alike. Or if that's a mistranslation, I don't know. Apprentices and initiates. I think it means like beginners and experts. That's how I'm going to interpret that. I don't actually know though. Also, malted barley, French oak in red wine casks. Non-chill filtered, no color added. A little bit lighter than the bourbon cask. Still a good color on it though. Actually, I say that. It's hard to see side by side. Yeah, it's a little bit lighter than the bourbon, but not by much. But I do love a red wine cask. Did I not just say earlier in the stream that some of my favorite single malts are aged in red wine or like sherry casks? So I'm very excited to try this one. Speaking of which, our special release whiskey is also aged in a wine cask, so that's fun. Okay, the nose of this one, not as jarring as the one for the Bernie release that was the white wine cask. This is red wine. More in line with the Ghost, the bourbon cask one we just had. There is a bit of a hint of fruitiness there. It's very subtle though. It's very grain forward, just like the last one. Less of the oak, more of the fruit, and it's not that orchard fruit like the pear and stuff. It's definitely red fruit, obviously, red wine cask. But it's very, very subtle. I mean, if anything, it's like the sweetness of like a vanilla and like strawberry, like almost like a strawberry shortcake on the nose, which, I mean, I love me a strawberry shortcake. Not nearly as sweet though. Remember how I said the white wine was extremely sweet? This one is not that sweet on the nose, at least. We'll see on the palate. What's up, Donald Rants? I was reading Donner Press's comment and seeing. Good to see you, Donald. Hope to see you in the hangout. Yeah, I like the nose. It's not really jumping out as something that, you know, is going to be weird. I think it's going to taste like what I expected it to taste like, but let's give it a try. Cheers. Okay. Again, I'm pleasantly surprised. You can tell that there are red wine casks here. I mean, it's not leaning towards like a super sweet, like a port or anything like that, or a so more like almost more of like an Oloroso, but not even that. That one has a very unique flavor. This one it just says red wine, so I don't know what they mean specifically. But it's more of, I have had some whiskeys just that are labeled the same Asian red wine cask that don't say sherry or anything, and it's a very similar taste. It's almost a little bit drying. It's almost a similar mouthfeel experience as having red wine. So let me go for another taste. Yeah, once you swallow it, you kind of get this like mouth coating thing that kind of happens with wine. And I like it. It definitely still is in strawberry world. I don't know. They give some tasty notes here, but I don't know how to pronounce any of these. I do see fruits rojes, which I assume is red fruit. Robe acajou. Maybe that's strawberry. I don't know. Someone help me. I don't learn. Oh, wait, we got a Canadian here. Come on, Donald. Help me speak French. Help me decipher this label. I probably mispronounced everything. Surprised you didn't go for the Amaric or Brennes. So you're the third person to mention the Brennes. I'm probably mispronouncing that too. I didn't go to France seeking out whiskey. I just happened to come across, I started because when I went to England, I saw some gift sets of some English whiskey. So I'm like, oh, let me pick up some spirits from like every location I go. This was a gift set available for a very decent price, so I got it. But apparently there's some more stuff out there to explore. So if it's anywhere as good as this has been tonight, I cannot wait. Okay, that word is not on there. So, but I do get strawberry. I mean, it's subjective, right? That's good. I don't think it blows my mind as much as I like the first two. But it's very, very good. If you like a red wine cask aged whiskey, you're going to love this. This is the one that was $95 on my local Southern California store website. Would I pay that for it? No. But I'm sure you can get a lot more affordably in other areas. It probably does not distribute out here very often, and they kind of raise the price on it because the other release from them is $50. So that is much more fair price. I would pay 50 for this. I would pay 50 for the bourbon. I would pay 50 for the first one, the white wine cask. It's not something that I would drink every day though. It's definitely more of like a special, like when I have like a sweet tooth kind of craving, would go towards it then. We got one more French whiskey to go to tonight though. It's the final one, and I also have no idea what this means. So we're gonna read some tasting. We're gonna read the description here shortly. But this one is the last one in the set. Vilanova Terrocita. See, I'm reading that like Terrocita. That looks very Spanish or maybe Latin. I don't know. But this one, as with the others, it is a 43% single malt, non-chill filtered, natural color. Definitely lighter. We're definitely going lighter than the red wine cask, lighter than the bourbon cask. About the same color as the Berbie, which is the white wine cask. So what's this? What is Terrocita? This single malt with its peaty notes is produced exclusively with peat-dried malted barley, which gives it a smoky finish on the palate. The whiskey is aged in ex-white wine casks. It will appeal to initiates in search of judiciously peated character. Interesting. Okay. So we're going back to the white wine cask, but this is a peated version of that. I am very curious. We will see if I like the peated version or if I like the regular version better. Knowing how sweet it was, I think the peat will really make this even better. And this is one of the ones I can get locally. So let me give this. I'm excited to give this a try. Very much so. Again, I am so uneducated about just. I was gonna say, like, honestly, the American school system has failed me in terms of geography and knowing languages and history of other nations. We focus very much on American history, or their version of it. So I did not learn very much about that, but you're probably right. Speaking of American history, I do want to take a moment and say how hurt or broken I am about the shooting that happened today at FSU. Saw that some people didn't make it, some people were very injured, and I don't want to bring the mood down, but every time I see something like that, I just think like, what are we doing? What are we doing as a country? But my thoughts are with the victims and their families, and hopefully justice is served. I'm not sure the outcome there, but yeah. Enough about that. Let's go up. But I wanted to take a moment to acknowledge and express my condolences for that. So we'll raise a glass to them shortly. Let's go ahead and nose the Terrocita. This is the peated. Definitely some peat on the nose. I mean, not as strong as maybe like an Isla peat. It's very leaning into the ashy version of peat, which I think I said that recently. Was it last week that I said that? But it's not like that really strong, like iodine kind of like. It's more of a subtle peat. But it's definitely, I mean, it's obvious that there's peated malt in here compared to the others, because those are not at all. I lose the white wine, how sweet that one was. I do lose that unique character. I do have a little bit of that left. I'm gonna go back to it and nose it. So this is the same whiskey. The first one I had was the Berbie. Same cask, it's just non-peated. So this is the non-peated one. So sweet. And this is the peated one. Yeah, I mean, on the nose, the peat is what's the most dominant note. But I would like to give it a try, and let's see if that sweetness holds up in the palate. So again, raising my glass to the victims. Hold your loved ones close tonight, and cheers to their memory. If you notice, I've said about all of these. That is what that first one needs. This has the sweetness, very similar in sweetness. I mean, you could almost tell me it's the same whiskey, literally just peated, which it probably is. This balances out in a way that I would drink this more regularly, because the non-peated version, like I said, was so sweet, it's like a special sweet tooth kind of, like you want a dessert pour. That's where the first one would go. The Berbie would be sweet, very desserty. Yeah, almost like graham cracker. Like if you were to put vanilla icing on a graham cracker, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Like I said, it's like it says vanilla, but we're talking like vanilla, like vanilla frosting, not just like a subtle vanilla caramel note that you get on a bourbon. It's very, very sweet. But with the peat in the Terrocita version, we really have another flavor element introduced here that I think helps it out tremendously. I'm just seeing these names have sounded more Spanish than French. See, I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. I looked up where in France they are located since this is the first time I've heard of them. They are in that region, which would explain why that's the language. Very, again, the more you know. But yes, they are. They're actually the first distillery in that region, which I said earlier, but people probably didn't understand because I did not know how to pronounce that word. I said Occitanie. That's probably not it. Oh, this is why. Isn't it a Foursquare that is always like French names, and like I always mess them up. I just do not comprehend French. I look at it and I just cannot. I can't even fathom how some of these words are. Like this one says the seal grain is ORGE, and I read that as either orgy or ogre. So obviously that's probably not what that is. It's probably like Oge something. The closest name in the Occitan phrase roughly translate into earthquake. Huh, interesting. Okay. So, thoughts. Again, I got one more pour, so please don't leave. I'm going to try a Les Maison du Whiskey pick of a whiskey that I've featured on the channel a couple times. From way down under. My favorites, I want to rank these because they were all good. I was not expecting this to blow my mind. I kind of not that, that's rude of me to think that like they're not going to be that good, but when you see a gift set, you never really know. I wish more brands would do gift sets. I think that's the biggest miss of the spirits industry. Because if I had the opportunity to buy a mini or a mini set of every whiskey, it would be a lot easier to find what you like and find a brand that you can fall in love with. Instead, you have to buy a full bottle or try a friend's bottle and then just kind of hope that you're going to like it. I love minis. I love gift sets. If you guys see one that you want me to try, please let me know. Like if it's like available, I would gladly go seek it out and taste it for you guys. But yeah, I commend any brand that will do a gift set. Even if they're not the 50 milliliters, some of them are like 375s or even 200 ml bottles. Still love those. All right, let me taste through real quick. Let me find a favorite, and then we'll move on to our final pour. By the way, what are you guys drinking? I haven't asked you that. What are you guys drinking tonight? Are you drinking single malts? Are you drinking something else French? Wine? I don't know. I did drink a lot of wine. Honestly, I tried to explore a lot of different reds. I love red wine, but I'm mostly familiar with Californian wines because I live in California and they're very affordable here. And Italian wines. Those are my experience. So it was really fun to try a lot of French wines. I did enjoy them, not as much as I have a soft spot for Californian wines. I just have my palate really aligns with California wines, especially one from the Paso Robles area. That's like my jam, and jam because it tastes like jam. But it was still very good. It was great to explore different things. So let's go ahead and rank these. So that was the Berbie that I just tried again. Oh no, sorry, that wasn't that one. I keep wanting to call that one because it's the bourbon. That's the Ghost, Gost. Man, that's so good. I've never had a single malt with that much character at a 43% ABV. Wow. Okay, let's try the Roja. Also very good. It's good, but I think the red wine flavor kind of overshadows that oak and vanilla cask influence that the bourbon's given me. And like I said, I've never gotten that note from a ex-bourbon cask, so that's why my mind's blown a little bit. Let's go to the last one, the Terrocita. Okay, I got my order. My favorite tonight, it's got to go to the peated one, the Terrocita. I think it improves on what I already liked about the white wine cask barrels on the Berbie, but it adds a layer of complexity there, and it really makes it stand out. Now, this is one I can get locally for $50. I will absolutely be buying a bottle of this after this stream. It's just like really well made. I would never expect this. I thought this was gonna be kind of like a craft distiller. Like not to say that there's anything wrong with craft distillers. It's just they have a reputation for tasting a little young, a little grainy. This tastes grainy, but in a very, very good way. So that one's my favorite, the Terrocita. My second favorite is the Gost, G-O-S-T. This is the one that's just ex-bourbon cask. Like I said, blew my mind. The best what did I say? I already forgot how I justified this. My favorite ex-bourbon cask single malt that's non-peated at not cask strength. I think that was it. I also said I like it better than any American single malt that are not at cask strength. Really like that. That's my second place. It's just such a bold bourbon flavor. That must make me wonder what the climate is like there in France with the aging. Third place, I'm gonna give it to the Berbie, which is the white wine cask without the peat. It took me by surprise. I was not expecting it to be so sweet. Again, this would be a special occasion, like I need a sweet tooth, or I have a sweet tooth craving. But it's really good, and anyone would enjoy this. I mean, even someone that's more of a cocktail person would enjoy this. And lastly, but not least, is the Roja. That was the red wine cask. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this, or there's anything bad about it. I just, one, don't understand why it's going for double the price at Mission, which is my local shop. That doesn't make sense to me, because from my understanding, these are all around the same. They're just different casks. But yeah, I don't see it being double the amount of the Terrocita. If it were the same price, I don't know if I would buy this one. This is actually the only one that I wouldn't consider buying. I would consider buying all the other ones. This one, to me, it's not blowing my mind, but that doesn't mean it's not good. It is very, very good. All right. So you guys made it this far, or you skipped to the end of the video. We're going to try my first bottle that I've owned of a Les Maisons du Whisky pick. These have a reputation as being some of the best picks in the whiskey industry. Now, I'm sure that's subjective, but I will say I have had one of their Blantons straight from the barrel picks, and it was absolutely delicious. Really, really incredible. It was everything you would want a cask strength Blanton's to be, and I don't think I've had one that's beat it. The closest thing I've had that's come close is a 140 proof one that my friend Aaron, not Aaron in the chat, but Aaron Blum had. I can't remember how. I don't think that was a pick. I think it was just the standard release. That one was really good too. But unfortunately, they did not have straight from the barrel picks available. They did have a bottle straight from the barrel, but I didn't buy it because I have one of those on the way here already. But there was one that caught my eye because I'm like, I really like that brand. It's a brand that I've tried for the past couple of years, and it was recommended to me by none other than Chris and Lil from Australia. I don't think they're here. They were in Perry's chat earlier. They're probably working or doing something important than watching the stream. But this brand was introduced to me by them. I'm just rinsing my glass right now. And when I heard, they had a couple of these actually. They had a couple different single casks from this distillery. But when I heard that this one is aged in a fortified wine cask, I was very interested, because typically Starward, it just wow, way to spoil it, Clifton. It's Starward. It's Starward single barrel Australian whiskey. But usually, almost every time I've seen this, it's always aged, it just says red wine casks. But this one is aged in a fortified wine barrel. Not only that, look at the age. It is filled in 2016, bottled in 2021. So that is 5 years old. 52.4% ABV. And of course, a Les Maisons du Whisky pick. There are 240 bottles in this release. They had a couple, like I said, they had a different, I think they had one that was an Armagnac finish, which I do like Armagnac, but Armagnac finishes to me are a little lighter. I like a strong finish. So let me go ahead and finish this. And I'm sorry I keep misusing the word finish because I'm used to American whiskey. We say finish. It has been aged exclusively in these casks, as far as I'm aware. Matured for 5 years in fortified wide casks. So it's going to have a lot more influence packed than a finish. Now, I would have loved to try the Armagnac one as well, but I'm not going to, I had a limited budget. I had limited suitcase room. So we're going to try this one, the fortified wine cask. It doesn't have a name. It just says Le Maison du Whisky, barrel number 1870. So if you guys have that and you're watching the replay of this, come leave a comment. Let me know what you think of it. I have really enjoyed Starboard. The only one that I haven't really loved is their twofold, which is probably their budget one, probably their lowest end one. To me, that one was just kind of okay. But I've tried so many of their other releases. Again, check my channel. I've reviewed them several times, and they've really grown on me. They are an Australian single malt. I don't know if I mentioned that. That's what makes them unique as well. We're trying French single malt. Now we're going to try an Australian single malt, which I love. I love seeing that other countries and other regions are making whiskey. They're trying their hand at it. Doesn't mean it's going to always be good, but so far tonight, it's been incredible. So let's go to nose the Starboard single barrel pick. Again, it's the highest proof thing we've had tonight. It's 52.4% ABV or 104.8 proof. Oh man, that is like on the nose. That is like a Smarties, like sweet. Smarties and sweet tarts are different. Sweet tarts are the more tart ones. Hence the name. Do you remember those versions of sweet tarts that were like chewy? Like they didn't have like anything inside them. They were just chewy. And they were like a little sour, but they were very, very sweet. That's what it smells like. Particularly like the pink one. I don't know why. But when I smell this, it smells like the pink chewy sweet tart. And maybe I don't know, the nose on it, it's fruity, but it's not what you would expect. It's almost... Now I'm confused. I'm like, it smells pink, which is a weird thing to say. I'm going to have to go for a taste. That is such an interesting nose. It's fruity, but I cannot place it. It's like an artificial... You know what it reminds me of? This is probably why I said pink. It reminds me of some artificial strawberry flavor. When something's made with like strawberry syrup and not actual strawberries, kind of smells like that. I'm very, very excited to give it a taste. Thank y'all for watching. Cheers. Also, old-fashioned ways in the chat. Sitting at the airport editing, but needed a break. Well, cheers. Thank you for spending the break with me. If you missed it, this is a Le Maison du Whisky pick of Starboard single cask aged in fortified wine barrels. Cheers. Ooh. As sweet as it was on the nose, the palate goes dark. It's sweet, and it definitely leaves a kind of like a bit of like a, I don't want to say like chalky, but like a candy kind of coating. But it immediately goes to like a really good baked cherry pie on the palate. I gotta have another sip. Starts out sweet, goes really deep. There's almost a moment where you think it's going to start tasting like a cherry cough syrup, because when you get cherry on a note, sometimes that's a very off-putting note, but it doesn't go there. It goes straight from the candy, like a strawberry candy, and transitions to a baked cherry pie with the crust. There's some crust elements there too. That is very, very interesting. Zover said IHOP strawberry pancake syrup. And then Emily's like, no, that's red. Steven Scone in the chat. Welcome to the chat. I don't know. Shelf Sipper. I'm familiar with Shelf Sippers, but I don't know if I've seen you personally in the chat. So good to see you. Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate the new folks tonight. I'm really surprised that goes from such a sweet, bright candy nose to such a rich palate. I mean, I literally feel it going from bright to deep, dark palate. Like, I feel it on my tongue. That's weird to say. And I've said this before on the channel. I love a whiskey that takes me on a journey. And I've experienced it. Not every whiskey I try does that. Sometimes they kind of hit and they dissipate and they're gone. But I love a whiskey that either changes its flavor or changes the way that my tongue reacts to it as it goes down. And this is one of those examples. I feel it dancing on my tongue. I feel it getting deep in the back parts of my mouth. I feel like it's still there, even though I've swallowed it. But man, that's a fantastic single cask of Starward. No, I'm not going to say that. It is the best. It's the best Starward cask I've ever had. And I have had single cask before. This one beats it. So again, they know what they're doing there over in Paris. They know how to pick a good barrel. Like I said, I've had their Blantons, incredible. Stacy's had their Redbreast. Such a delightful. I mean, it's sweet to the level that, like, the one we had earlier, the Bernie. I would put these in the same category. I definitely wouldn't drink the Starward every night. Not that I encourage drinking every night, but what I'm saying is it's not an everyday pour. It's not the flavor profile when you just want to think of a whiskey. That's not going to be the one you think of. But when you have a craving for that sweeter, fruitier, especially like a cherry pie kind of craving, this is a great bottle to go for. And it wasn't that expensive. I think I paid like $130. Maybe $130. I don't know. But I mean, you know, I don't remember. Actually, I don't remember. It was vacation. Money didn't matter. I'm sorry. I'm not saying it doesn't matter, but, you know, I was like, I'm on vacation. This is coming out of my vacation budget, not my whiskey buying budget. We don't talk about that budget. But, yeah. Sorry, I'm mostly a lurker until I see other people I know. No worries. Hey, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Don't care. But feel free to just speak up, though. I love this community, and I love welcoming people to it. Speaking of welcoming people to it, are you guys on my Discord? If not, please join. It's a great server. There are all your friends that you see here week to week, and many, many more. If you guys are curious, drop the link in the chat. You can go check it out. You can also go to bourbonbites.com. Like I said, join the membership, or just sign up for alerts. I just dropped some new merch. I dropped some coasters. I know that's simple, but I also coasters, and I think I made a new hat. I might have saved the hat. I don't know if I fell in love with how it looked. Let me see if I came to a conclusion. I did do one hat. I did a Thieves Guild hat. So I made a Thieves Guild hat, which I thought was a very clever joke. I don't know who came up with this. Someone suggested this to me a while back. But if you look at the latest products, you'll see it down there. But I also have a couple coasters. One of them is exclusive to Bite Club members. So if you guys want to join, you're going to get access to that coaster as well as a Bite Club t-shirt, also exclusive to members of the channel. But with that, I'm going to wrap up here and say France can make great single malt whiskey. I am so excited to pick up a bottle of one of these. Probably, like I said, either the Ghost if I can find it, and the Terrocita, because love those. And for $50, what a steal! What a great whiskey for that price. Hopefully you guys learned something tonight. Maybe just learning the tasting notes of a French whiskey. I encourage you to try it yourself. I look forward to trying the ones that you guys have recommended in the chat, which I saw quite a few recommendations in the chat. So I've got a lot more to learn, and you guys teach me so much every day. So hopefully I can at least entertain you. Even if I can't teach you French, hopefully I can entertain you guys. So I will see you guys next Thursday. Not 100% sure what we're doing, but it's going to be fun, so you don't want to miss it. So you might want to hit subscribe down below and the like button while you're down there. But until next time, this has been Bourbon Bites. Cheers, and I will see you guys next Thursday.